Presentation techniques and use of media. Multimedia presentation. The presentations QIs give to captain's license students use multiple forms of media. Let's use rules of the road as an example of various forms of media used to clarify a subject matter. Qualified instructor teaches rules of the road part A to a group of students. The QI has rules of the road book to read from, a video for each of the rules in part A, a practice quiz for rules part A, lectures that are drawn on a whiteboard for the rules in part A, and a story that relates the rules in part A to the student's real life experiences. All of the above methods mentioned of presenting rules of the road part A are using different media. A rules of the road book, videos, practice quizzes, whiteboard lectures, and a story based on experience are examples of different forms of media that can be put together in a presentation to create a well-rounded multimedia presentation that facilitates learning. Effective presentations can be achieved through careful planning and incorporating simple yet helpful design techniques. Carefully proof your work and ask a colleague to review your final presentation to check for accuracy and errors. Finally, record video of your presentation so you may watch it and take notes to refine it for future use. Organize your material. Know the key points of the material you're presenting. Prioritize the key points to make sure you emphasize the most important parts of the material during your presentation. While covering the most important material, ask questions about it and make sure you give the students a proper amount of time to answer each question. When you ask a question during class, it is important to give a long pause, let people think, generate a good answer, and then give that answer. If you ask a question and look around real quick and then keep going, people don't really get the proper amount of time to form a coherent answer. Electronic presentation materials. Use the online classroom as a tool to create consistency throughout your courses. As QIs become more experienced presenting the material, they begin to know which resources in the online classroom are best to present. After the material is covered, use the quizzes in the online classroom to test the knowledge the student has gained from the lecture. The online classroom provides video content and reading for each of the subjects to help the student answer questions about the material presented. The most valuable resource to the students to clarify questions about the topic is the QI and his or her ability to answer very specific questions. A QI's direct response to specific questions in real time saves students time and frustration. I find that especially helpful on ChartNav. If there's a student who gets frustrated with the problem, they're on their second or third attempt and they're rechecking their math for a third time, at that point, a QI can come in, start the problem from the beginning. If you start it right in the middle where the student left off, it's very likely you get sucked into their mistake. So come in from the beginning, start the problem, go through it, and a lot of times you won't even finish the problem, and the students say, I got it. I see what I did here. I miscalculated time. I did my hours to minutes conversion wrong, something like that. Print-based handouts or hard copy. Printed material has its advantages. Lightlist and Copilot practice problems involve flipping back and forth through sections of a book. A hard copy of the Lightlist and Copilot make the practice problems more enjoyable for students than navigating a PDF file online. Let's go over all printed material used in the Captain's License course. The textbook. The USCT textbook follows very closely the online exam modules. It contains explanations, practice problems, and readings. Some students prefer a hard copy of the materials and are not comfortable reading and working from the online classroom. Students may complete practice problems from the textbook and migrate their answers to the online quizzes. The textbook also plays an important role as a backup method of teaching when the internet goes down or is intermittent. Practice problems in the textbook, it's interesting, especially with ChartNav. ChartNav is going to take about half the time of the class to teach. So hands-on and time goes so fast. But the practice problems are in the textbook. And when a student solves a practice problem, they should either do it in the textbook or they should have a notebook dedicated to these problems and keep all your work so that if you get the same problem, let's say you're having trouble passing a quiz, but you keep solving the same problem over and over again and you're already comfortable with that problem, well, if you solve it somewhere and you recognize the problem and it's kind of a known solution that you've already done, you can just use your answers and numbers and everything from the last time you did it to make the problem go literally 10 times as fast. The chart. The block island chart is used extensively in the chart navigation portion of the course. Students use parallel rules and dividers in combination with the block island chart to physically solve chart navigation practice problems. By the time students are ready for their final exam in chart nav, their charts will be worn through in spots due to excessive use. Rules of the Road book. During the Rules of the Road exam module, students use a printed Navigation Rules and Regulations Handbook. The book is referred to in all of the video content and is used extensively during the Rules of the Road exam module. Reference book. Aids to navigation. The first 4 pages of the reference book describe the aids to navigation. The first 4 pages are the only color pages in the reference book and describe the aids to navigation for IALA Buoyage System B for coastal waters and western rivers. The light list. The light list constitutes about half of the reference book. Students use the light list to locate aids to navigation on the chart, which saves them time in the chart navigation portion of the course. The light list also works as a cross-reference when students do not know if they've located the proper aid to navigation for a charting problem. They're able to cross-reference the aid to navigation with the light list by comparing the characteristics of the aid to navigation to what is in the light list. The light list may be used as a PDF online, but it's much easier to navigate when it's in hard copy as it is in the reference book. The Coast Pilot. The Coast Pilot's used to answer general questions about the lay of the land and to identify the do's and don'ts of the general area a mariner is headed. Students practice with the Coast Pilot by answering practice questions in the Navigation General exam module. The Coast Pilot, like the light list, is much easier to use when it's in hard copy as it is in the reference book.